Hello everyone, welcome to Pronounce It with Eleutéria. In the previous lesson, we had a look at phonetics and phonology. We saw their concepts and what do we study in each one of the fields. So for today, we are going to have a look at speech production. Let's start our lesson with a reflection. How do human beings produce speech? Is there any specific part of the human body that is responsible for the production of speech? If yes, is it the mouth? Most people think that producing speech is only opening and closing the mouth. But we can prove them wrong. How? Let's all try opening and closing our mouth. Nothing else, just opening and closing. What did we realize? We realized that speech production is way more than just opening and closing the mouth. It's a complex process that involves muscles and articulators that they contract, and that way we produce speech. How is that process? How do we produce speech? Well, human beings produce speech following this process in which the air is brought from the lungs. Yes, we do need air to produce speech. Why? Because if you cannot breathe, you can't speak. So we do need air to produce speech. The air, it goes from the lungs, it is pushed to the larynx through the trachea. The trachea pushes the air from the lungs and takes it to the larynx. In the larynx, the air is modified and it is shaped to produce different frequencies of sounds. And then from the larynx, the air goes through the vocal tract and then it gets to the mouth. And that's when the air is expelled and we produce speech. Let's have an experience. Let's try to say ha, ha. You see, the air, we brought it from the lungs, it went through the trachea, it got to the larynx modified the air, it shaped our voice, and then it got to our mouth, and we produced ha. So far, so good. Can we move on? So, to understand how this process goes, we have to also have a look at the articulators and what roles they play in communication or in speech production. Articulators are different parts of the vocal tract. They help us produce speech. So let's move on to the next stage of our lesson, in which we are going to analyze each one of the articulators. Moving to the next stage of our lesson, we are going to have a look at the articulatory system, this set of muscles that we said previously that they contract so that we produce speech. I recommend you to grab a pen and paper because you are going to need it for this stage of our lesson. In the articulatory system, we find these organs. They are placed above the larynx. So first we find the larynx, which is where the air is modified to produce different frequencies of sounds, as we mentioned previously. And then we have the pharynx. The pharynx is a tube that is placed right above the larynx. In the pharynx, we produce pharyngeal sounds. An example of a pharyngeal sound is the consonant ha. Moving on, we find the velum, or soft palate. The velum is where it's the organ that allows the air to go through the nose or through the mouth. The velum, it's where we produce velar sounds. And an example of a velar sound is the consonant ka, or even the consonant ga. That part of our mouth that our tongue reaches when we pronounce ka and ga, that there is the velum. And then we find the hard palate. Something interesting about the hard palate is that doesn't go along with the name. The hard palate is that smooth surface. You see, smooth surface. And the name is hard palate, but there's nothing we can do. The hard palate is the smooth surface, as I mentioned, that we can feel with our tongues. That smooth surface that is often called the roof of the mouth is where we produce palatal sounds. An example of a palatal sound is the consonant ya. It is produced in the hard palate. Moving on, we have alveolar ridge. The alveolar ridge is that surface that is rougher than the hard palate, and it is covered with little ridges. The alveolar ridge it's responsible for the production of alveolar sounds. Examples of alveolar sounds are the consonants da, na, and za. These are examples of alveolar sounds. The tongue touches that rough surface that is right behind our upper teeth, and we produce consonants like da, na, and za. Try it and you will see where your tongue reaches. So that surface your tongue reaches when you produce those sounds, that is the alveolar ridge. Moving on, we find the tongue. The tongue, it's an important organ, it's an important articulator in speech. We can move the tongue for different positions and produce different kinds of sounds. We've seen before that when we move the tongue and bring it into contact with the velum, we produce velar sounds. Move the tongue and bring it into contact with the hard palate, we produce palatal sounds. Moving the tongue and bringing it into contact with alveolar ridge, we produce alveolar sounds. And we will see afterwards that with the teeth, it happens the same. We move the tongue and we produce different types of sound. That's why tongue is an important articulator. And then we have our teeth. The teeth that you think that were meant to chew food are also used to produce speech. We use our teeth to produce two types of sounds. We produce dental sounds, that's when we bring the tongue into contact with the upper teeth, that we produce dental sounds. But we can also bring our lips into contact with our teeth and produce labiodental. Why labiodental? Because it's a combination of lips and teeth. So labiodental sounds. An example of a dental sound first are the consonants, the sounds th and the. Th and the. We move our tongue, we raise it until it reaches the upper teeth, and we let go the airflow, and we produce the, and the. And we can bring our lips into contact with our teeth and we produce fa and va. Again, fa and va. Finally, we have our lips that are also flexible, but not as flexible as the tongue. In the lips, we produce labial sounds. We have two types of labial sounds. We have bilabial sounds and we have the labiodental sounds, as we mentioned previously. The bilabial sounds are those that we produce when we bring both lips together. We press them and we produce consonants like pa, ba, and ma. Pa, ba, and ma. So these are bilabial sounds. We press the lips together. And labiodental sounds we've seen before that are the consonants fa and va. So these are the main articulators that we find in the human body. These are the muscles that contract to produce speech. You may ask me which one of them is the most important. I cannot tell you, but we can all agree that each one of them plays a significant role in the production of speech. So thank you everyone. I hope you enjoyed the lesson. Please like the video, comment where do you watch me from, and don't forget to subscribe and invite your friends. I'll see you in the next lesson. Take care.